Granny couldn't get here faster. Chase my dreams just to wake up after. Run it back, time I wasted, time I had. One after one, it's a hourglass. All my patience, never lasting, no. Memories, I'm diving head first. You know I can't breathe through the sound of laughter. Run it back, time I wasted, time I had. One after one, it's a hourglass. All my patience, everlasting, no.
All right, we are here. I'm so excited about this. Ableton Live 12, it's out. And yeah, let's give it a try. I haven't done anything in here at all. I've downloaded it, I installed it, I authorized it, and then I left it as is. If you're wondering what that track was at the beginning, it's not one of mine. I wish it was. It's a fantastic track. It's actually the demo track that comes with Ableton Live 12 when you load it up. That's what's in there. So, which is really nice. I actually saved it because I'm not sure where this saves. So I made sure to save it so I can go have a look, because I have a feeling it uses up a lot of the new features and stuff. So it'll be interesting to go through this track at some point and see how they've done stuff and get some little tricks. I'm noticing here they use the strum. Yeah, that'll be really interesting to look through this track at some point. What I'm going to do though to start out is just create a new project from scratch and go from there. The biggest thing, if you're ever wondering which version people are using, if you're watching a video or whatever and you want to figure out if it's live or 12, the biggest visual difference that you notice right away is this here. They actually, the arrow here, they put on the left instead of on the right. It's not a big deal. For some reason, I feel like I liked it better on the right, but I think it's just getting used to it. And but anyways, if it's on the left, you'll know it's Ableton Live 12. So that's what we have here. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a bit of a cold in the last little while, so I'm a little bit stuffy if I'm not sounding my normal self there you know. You know, that's what it is. I didn't want to wait. I wanted to install this. So yeah, let's get going. There are a couple things that I'm actually really looking forward to trying in here. The first one is this whole tagging thing. And so I want to see a little bit about how that works. And also this replace sound. So we can actually try the replace sound right away. So if we click on here, apparently, oh, that's really interesting, actually. It's interesting because it brings back stuff that is really the same style, but that has some variation. I don't know. How do you explain it? It brings stuff that's the same but different, but it brings like a wide variety of different sounds, but it is pretty good at figuring out what's close to it. And I did notice when I first ran this that it was doing some stuff up here on the left. So I have a feeling that's what it was doing. It was tagging or going through the sounds and trying to figure out, you know, the different variations and all of the sounds you have. And I have some pretty large sound libraries. So like a whole bunch of samples in there. So it probably took a little while to do, but it's all done now. So I'm just going to go to just load up the chat here. If ever you write something, I'm not completely used to going and checking this. And I want to be very good at that. So if you do write something, I don't reply right away. Thanks for your patience. And I will definitely get to it. So, okay, we tried out that first one, the replace sounds. So there's a whole bunch of ways to use that, and we can look at those a little bit later on. The tagging. So I've been curious at figuring out the tagging because it doesn't tag the sounds that you have already. So that will probably take me a little while to go through eventually if I even do that. I want to see what it does with the plugins though, because people say that things have changed where they're not in categories anymore, and I guess we're supposed to use the tags. So just curious at what there is. So I'm going to do specifically the AU. I sort of like that though, that you can switch between the versions. The reason, like, I use AU for most of my stuff, and the Waves plugins with Ableton Live are only officially working in as a VST3 version. The AU will work, but there's weird stuff like if you load up the SSL compressor, the VU meter won't work or whatever. So with Waves, I always go to the VST3, and everything else I go to the AU. So it's actually nice that you can switch. Oh, actually, I really like that. That you can switch. It used to be you had to go and you had to choose the format first and then the plugin. This way you can go to the plugin and then check the format you want. I'm wondering how. See, I'm wondering which version it puts. If we do this and we don't put anything, I don't know if it loads up the AU or the VS2. There might be something in the preferences. I don't know. But anyways, I like that. And is there a way to... Just wondering if there's a way to figure out just the reverbs. It doesn't look like there is. You've got the developers and whether it's instrument or an audio effect. So I might have to tag those separately. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any of those. So, okay, that is interesting. There was something else I wanted to try. There was replace sounds. Oh yeah, it's the MIDI. So you know what we're gonna do is let's go just do some sort of a. Let's just find a 909 kit. Okay. So where did it load this? Right at the end here. Okay. Okay, so this is a nice sounding kit. I don't usually load this one up. I've been using Drumazon a lot for 909 sounds, and I tend to go for like specific sounds. So I'll find like a 909 kick for the kick, and then I'll find somewhere else a snare. But yeah, this is a nice sounding. Okay, so let's just build something very, 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 very basic. And the snare, we will, where are we here? So this one here, let's, oops, what have I done? Okay, the snare here, just bring the level. It's very, I just want to get something very, very basic going, but you know what we're going to do? Make this quicker. We will add a top loop. Oh, I'm tempted to just do this just for now. Okay, this is not recognizing it at all. So this should be 126. Let's see here. For some reason, thought it was 144. So we're going to do this, but what we're going to do over here is we're going to mute the hi-hat and the snare drum. It's weird. I didn't think it would make a big difference with this these arrows on the left, and it's like you realize after a while it's just muscle memory, and you're so used to going to the same place. And I'm noticing that I just automatically went to the right looking for it. So anyways, I like to layer some of these. And once we're done, we're going to probably do something here with the hi-hat we had earlier. Might be able to just layer this over it. Okay, so let's we'll just group these. I sort of like that where there's a variation at the end. One of them, I guess, that's out. Okay, so I might use this for later. Actually, we can use it now. So I'm just going to go to have a whole bunch of serum instruments. So let's, I don't know, we'll go for maybe some sort of a pluck. We'll just do preset for now. And ooh, it's a little loud. I just want something very, 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 very simple. I might actually go to pack. I'll just do something here, sort of a random. Yeah, this one will be nice actually. So the first thing I wanted to check out is the updated arpeggiator. And it'll be under MIDI effects, arpeggiator. So apparently it does actually looks quite a bit different. I've always liked the arpeggiator. I actually did a bunch of presets for it at some point. And I'll have to put them up sometime so you guys can download them, because some of them are really, really interesting. There are ways to get some interesting sounds out of it that you don't really think about. So, okay. So we'll do B flat minor. If you don't know what an arpeggiator is, it'll basically take, like in this case, I've got I'm hitting 3 notes at the same time. Just whatever chord or whichever random notes you have, even if you have just one note and you're not playing a chord, and it'll make sounds with it. If it's just one, chances are, I'm curious, but I was wondering if maybe the pattern would change a little bit, but if it's just one note, it won't do anything. But if you have the 3 notes, if I take the arpeggiator off, okay, let's, okay, this lets us have, so we've got the 3 notes at the same time, then we'll hit the arpeggio. And you're noticing this is a pattern here, and this is new here. Oh, I like that. Instead of having to go and choose choose your pattern in the list, you can just do this, and it actually gives you an idea of what. So you can tell here, this is what it's doing. It's doing this, and then one note is going up over time, and the other one is hitting the same note. I like this. I like seeing. Now I'm wondering if I have figure out where I did save them though. Probably my user library, presets, MIDI effects. Oh, no. Okay, it's probably not called Luke. What did I name them? Let's see if we can. Yeah, this is for something else. Where did I wish I could remember one of the names. I haven't used them in a long time. Is there a way if we go into the arpeggiator? So we'll go back, MIDI effects, the arm. You know what? I might not even have installed them on this. That might be why. But this one here, let's see if we drag this here. Ooh, interesting. So there's a plugin called Big Bang Cinematic, which sounds fantastic. But for a while, it would crash all the time. And so the biggest thing I was doing in there was making, hold on, I think this one might be better. What I would do with it was, it has this sort of quantized thing where you can play live, and when you're doing the drums, it sounds like movie trailer drums. And I replicated it in the arpeggiator. It might not sound. It doesn't sound like movie trailers, but. So this is if I press multiple notes, but. Okay, so I love that. First of all, that you're able to drag your presets that you did in the old arpeggiator in there, and that you can have some sort of a visual thing, unless this is just a random visual of, an external sound. I'm not sure. We'd have to figure out. Maybe if we change stuff, which doesn't seem like it's doing a whole lot. Anyways. Interesting that we may have visuals for it. Let's see if we do swing. It's not really doing anything to the visual. So this might just be a generic visual. I have to play around with that one a little bit more. But that sounds really nice, actually. I'm glad it works. I'm glad we're able to load up the older presets, so we're good there. And yeah, so basically this should be matched to this here. Oh, wait a second. It went to B flat minor. Oh, I did not know about this. If you switch the scale on the Ableton Push, it actually updates this automatically. That's really interesting. I mean, it's something I would have hoped it would do, but I didn't expect it to do. I thought I'd have to go every time. Oh, wow. Okay. So if we switch to just A flat minor. Oh. So it's switched, but if we take this out, no, it's still keeping those. Okay, so as we change the scale, it switches, but then if we do this here, oh, never mind. I'm confused. So yeah, the notes are changing because I'm changing the notes that are going into it, but the notes that the arpeggiator is playing are changing or not. Anyways, okay. Ignore that last part. It doesn't make sense. But basically, if you want this to match the arpeggiator notes to match the notes that are coming in, and the thing is too with Ableton Push is when I'm doing these things here, because I have this on scales mode, it's adjusting those notes automatically. But if I was on the piano, I have a feeling it would work differently. Just have to wait a second for it to wake up. So I'm going to hit just the white notes. And if we remove this, oh yeah, you can notice a difference. So over here, it's just playing whichever note, and then if we turn that on, it lets you. It will output only the notes that are in that scale you're working in. That's, anyways, very interesting, especially that part where it's matched to Ableton Push. And the thing is, too, I'm using Ableton Push 1, and that's something that I've always loved about Ableton is when they release new stuff, if they can add it to the Push 1, they will. So there's some stuff, obviously, they can't. It just wasn't built for it, some of the MPE stuff. But stuff like this, that they're able to work both ways. They have it in there, and I'm sure some companies would cripple it. So, I'm sure some companies would just make it so you're not able to use certain features just so you buy the new one. So, anyways, I love that they're doing that. Okay, so what else did we? Okay, so we want to do some of the MIDI stuff. So let's remove the arpeggiator here and just do MIDI from scratch. So I'll just okay, that gives us something to work with. We will quantize it a little bit. Actually, you know what? We're not going to quantize it, and I will let you know why. So we're going to undo that. And we're actually going to quantize from right in here, which is really interesting because usually if you quantize stuff, it just goes on the grid and it prints it, whatever. But with this, there's a way to quantize here. So if we do, I don't know if we have to select all the notes. And if we do the current grid and do 16, I don't know if we can, tell by zooming in here. You know what, let's pretend, let's pretend I played off key a little bit here. So or off grid. So if we do this with the grid, we should be able to, yeah, there we go. So we can adjust the quantize. Why does it sound horrible though? It's true that we've got, okay, hold on. We've got, actually, you know what? I'm going to close this so we have a little bit more space to work with. So we're going to move these here out of the way. Why does that sound so bad? Okay, let's go back to... Okay. Not going to worry about the quantize for now. Let's do the arpeggiate, which is a little bit like the arpeggiator we were looking at, but you can see it on the screen, which is sort of interesting. Like I said, I haven't used any of this, so... Okay, we'll reduce the rate. That's already sounding nice. Now, I wonder if we can quantize this a little bit more. No. It just sounds like they're a little bit off key, so I'm off beat. So, let's see. Is there a setting for... Wonder if... Oh, that's interesting. I hit quantize. Oh, that sounds better now. So I hit quantize on the push. So basically what you could do is just select all of the notes and do quantize here. And there's a new thing here. I'm not sure if it's new or if it was in there before, but I discovered this lately from people talking about it, is you can actually go into quantize settings. Where is it? Is it behind? Oh, you know what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to remove the second window because I have a feeling some of the stuff ends up on my second monitor. Okay, so if we do quantize settings, they are not showing up. Interesting. Okay, so, oh, maybe because they're already quantized. I'm wondering if, nope. Okay, something else I'll have to look into at some point. But anyways, so if we do a redo. So if we quantize these, it does sound better. And you can use these together. Like you're able to, we use the arpeggiator or the arpeggiate feature. And then if we go to ornament, which I believe adds extra notes here and there. That's sort of interesting. That gives it a... And then flam is basically what's making it. Flam basically will be... Oh, okay, you can choose one or the other. What the flam basically is it's used in drums where it'll hit the drum just a little bit before the actual hit. So if you've got a snare and you've got the ch, it'll be like, it'll basically just give a little tiny ch before, sort of like this. But yeah, this with a longer flam, but overall it'll be just a little bit before. That's interesting. I don't know if I like it though. And then so transform, it looks like transform is basically, do you want this effect on or off? So if we went back to arpeggiate, no. Okay. Recombine. Oh, that's interesting. I don't even know. I don't even know what I just did, but I guess you hit the shuffle, the mirror, and transform it. I like this. Okay, this is interesting. What I'm going to do is, I know there's ways to do this in Ableton Live, but I want to add kick. The only thing I'm noticing here is, on when I do add an effect, my favorites are not there anymore, which is interesting. So I usually do add effect, and I've got maybe a dozen of them that I use regularly: the auto filter, the EQ8, and kick. And it's not in there anymore, which is weird. Oh, they're all here though. Or kickstart that I use, yeah. They are here, but they're not showing up on the push. That's sort of interesting. But anyways, not a big deal. We're going to do this, and we're actually going to go, I'm just going to remove some of the low end on, make this a little bit less harsh. Okay. There's too much going on in, I'm wondering if it's this flam, not span. What was it? Oh yeah, ornament. So I'm assuming this, I'm just trying to figure out how you remove the whole thing. So maybe. And the other thing I'm wondering about is there a way to reset everything? To get my chords. I'm sure there's a way, but oh, and there's all of these too. The rhythm, the C. Okay, so I want to remove some of the stuff we just did. And I'm wondering, so if we go back to our notes, there's got to be some way, right? It's weird. I can't find a reset, like reset everything. I don't even know how to reset one of them. This will take a little bit of getting used to. So the one we used, I don't even remember what we used to change the change these patterns. Okay, well I might have to just need these last ones. Maybe have them a little bit lower. And maybe this bottom one a little higher. It just seems like we're... No. Might not even need this one. Only. Might, you know what, we might just go for a different different sound, or we can just do. Oops, no, that's not what we want. So what we will do, that already sounds a little bit strummed. I wonder what happens if we hit strum on here. So apparently you're supposed to play with these. Actually, what we should do first is quantize them so we know what we're playing with. And okay, this is with nothing, and then if we try the strum and do transform here, might be going too far, right? That's not bad. Gives it a little bit more of a human feel. Let's just do. Now, I don't know if they use the same. Yeah, they use the same reverb, same delay in here. Okay. So we've got this to work on. Because what I want to do is look at some of the new devices that are in here. So I loaded this up earlier, just so I don't forget anything. And okay, some of these, it's sort of confusing when you go through because some of them are updated for live, which is okay. They updated the library, they updated a bunch of stuff. And then some of these, you'll notice, say new in live 12 standard, which is stuff that was only in Suite before, and now they have it in the standard version. And if you have the standard version, you're going to love this because there's a whole bunch of really good stuff they added into the standard version now. Analog, which is a synth, collision, electric, which I love. It's different electric pianos. And there's tension, operator. So they really put a lot of new synths in there. And so these are the ones we're looking for here, is the new in Live 12. So Meld, an MPE capable instrument. Okay, let's try that. So we'll go here, and I guess we'll have to go to instruments. And I'm wondering if we should just load it as is. I'm assuming these are the presets for Meld itself, but let's just load it as is. It's got a nice little sound. Let's just see. Just trying to find something we can work with. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so let's just record a very basic. Not the greatest melody. I wanted to have something with a little bit of variation going. Okay, so it looks like it's got two oscillators here, and oh, there's quite a few waveforms. So we've got the basic shapes here. Let's ooh, I don't like that one. So the crackle. You know what? If I take this one out completely, I love the sound just of this second one. Oh, I could see having two instances of this and going in between. Or I'm assuming we can mix between the two, but Interesting. Okay, so we won't need the crackle or the rain or anything. That's sort of interesting sound for transitions and stuff and my tech house music. Okay, so we've got the... Oh, so we can switch. See, this is the same thing as the arpeggiator earlier, where we're able to switch between the different choices in the list by just going left to right, and it's got some sort of a visual representation. I'm going to turn this off. I'm just curious to see what this sub sounds like. Yeah, really, it sounds very, very subby when you go lower, even a little bit lower than what I can hear in these headphones even. I like how everything's in the same place, so I can just do the amp envelope and yeah. I like this. Oh, okay, so this is for the second, the B. So we can. I like this. Everything's in one spot. I'll have to play around with this one a little bit more. I'm wondering, actually, this might let us do something for another device that came out. So let's actually just use this one of... Do you hear that? So it's got the sub going, but the other one is modulated and doing... I love this. Okay. I'm just gonna reduce some of these. Okay, a little bit too loud. Okay, the reason I wanted to do this is I wanted to, you know what, I'm gonna save this now because Ableton Live 12 live stream. I might end up using part of this in a track. Okay, anyways, the reason I wanted to do this is because there is something called Roar that is new, and it is not an instrument, it's an effect. Here we go. And I don't know anything about this one, but apparently it can do some sort of distortion or saturation. And the interesting thing with this is it's a good way to test it is on something subby like the sound we're using, because what'll happen is it'll add some upper harmonics. Oh yeah, that brings it out. Oh, I like this. What? Oh, I like this a lot. It's like I don't even want to try the other presets. This one... Wow, okay. Let's try some of the other ones anyways, but this one's got both of them at once. I don't want that. Okay, the feedback is... So it's basic. I don't like it as much, but if we can bring the dry wet down... Oh yeah, this gives it some... It gives it some movement. Maybe a little... Well, I was going to say a little too much, but... I don't know. What do you guys think? Sounds good. Oh, I like this a lot. I think I'm going to have to do some versioning of this file because I save different versions. And you know what? Like when they announced Ableton Live 12, I sat there and I was like, there wasn't anything huge. There were a lot of interesting little bits and pieces, but it didn't feel like there was any like, and especially this, because I don't do tons of stuff with a lot of distortion, and I do mostly deep house music and some tech house music, which has a little bit more, but not really that much. A little bit of like big room EDM type stuff, and just overall dance music, mostly for TV shows lately. But yeah, so I was like, a distortion, I don't know if it'll necessarily help me, but we just tried 2 of these. Okay, so we're running both of them. So let's go back to what we had before. Yeah, like the difference. And even just this one on its own doesn't really do much. I think we need to have these 2 going. So let's replace one of these, and bass fattener. That sounds like that's what we would want. So I'm gonna remove this one here. Trying to figure out what it's doing besides making it louder. That's the thing with a lot of these, is just having it louder makes it sound like it sounds better, but a lot of the time it's just the same sound but louder. So what we'll do is, I think it's doing something. Let's see if we run them both together. So you can tell it's basically giving some higher frequencies to the low sound. And another thing that's interesting with this, though you need to check it before you release something, is you have to make sure it does sound okay when you don't have that low frequency with it. Like, actually, here, we'll do that now. Oh, the favorites that weren't showing up earlier are working now, so I don't know what was going on. So if we remove the low frequencies here, and the thing that's nice with this is if people are listening on a laptop or on just earbuds or something, they don't have all of the frequencies, the lower frequencies like this, it can help you have some of that bass sound go through so they can hear it as well. So, but what we're going to do here to test it is if we remove these. Okay, so that's what they would hear without it when they don't have that bass, if they have like cheap laptop speakers or something, and then with the bass. So it's pretty well what we'd expect, and then we'll bring that bass back in. I love this. Okay. I really like this Meld thing. I like Roar. I want to see what else there. Okay. Granulator 3 is an interesting one, because I never realized there was a Granulator 1 or 2. And when I heard about this, it's is it under Max for Live? Instruments? Oh, just go to all. I don't find it. Granulator input 2. And the weird thing is, it should actually be at a minimum bringing up Granulator 2. There it is. Where's Granulator 3? Anyways, I hadn't realized it had 1 or 2, and might have to download this one separately, maybe. Gotta check something here. Sometimes some of the stuff is under the packs. But when I loaded it up, it's, oh, here we go. Granulator 3. Yeah, I guess we have to download it separately, though it won't let us download it because it says we have it already. So, because that's Granulator 2 there. Could it be that some of these presets, yeah, see, that's all Granulator 2 stuff. Because I like how it's got the, well, here, we'll just load up 2 just so I can tell you what I mean. Like, the visuals are interesting, but no, we want Granulator 3. And I don't know. If we can't find it, we might have to do it separately. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. We have to download it in here. Okay. So if you want Granulator 3, go under packs and it should find it pretty well right away. Okay. Oh, we're good. So load this up, and it's sort of interesting because we'll be able to compare it a little bit to Granulator 2. So we'll add Granulator 3 here. And let's see if there are presets for it. I always like to get started with the presets and when you're learning a tool, and then you can see how they've done different stuff. And then over time, as you learn to use it, then you can sit down and make your own sounds. So if we do this, there is nothing there now. And let's load a string. Oh, and we need to change it. So what it'll technically do is take a sample. It could be any sample you want, even your voice, whatever it is, and it'll just work within the sample and chop it up into a whole bunch of little slices and make sound with whatever you've got feeding it. So and sometimes it's a little choppy. It really depends on the type of music you make. So this would be too choppy for stuff that I do, but there should be a way to just smooth it out. And that's what I'll have to figure out over time. But first I'm going to try a couple presets and see. So we can bring the slice over. You can tell how you could get some interesting sounds out of it. And I mean, these are just the sounds that they have in there, but you can take any sample at all. We should be able to. Let's just go into the sound library and be sort of maybe weird to have just a drum sound, but let's see what it sounds like. So we'll just do some sort of an 808. I was hoping for something a little bit. Sorry, but let's just see what it... Yeah, no, it won't work with this. Well, we could make it work, but it's not a long enough sound. Let's see here. All right, this will be perfect. Some sort of... So we'd be seeing what we can do with the... Oh, so this is interesting. The variation, just moving that will give a whole bunch of different... There we go. Oh, doesn't sound that great with a bunch of sounds at the same time, but... And you could automate these so you're working through the sample, moving back and forth. Yeah, you could get some interesting sounds out of this, especially if you're throwing effects on it, and especially with the strong reverb. We just have to figure out how to make it a little bit smoother, sort of, and I know there's a way to do it. And it's just figuring out. I was trying to see if anybody had ideas. So. Okay, so that's sort of interesting there. I don't use granular synthesis that much, but it's always interesting to play around with. Let's go back to the list here that we had and see what else might be new that we forgot. The tuning systems, that's interesting because they had I think it was called Micro Tuner. Actually, let's try some of those out, but we'll have to try with what we were using earlier. Maybe try to find one of these MIDI files from earlier. It's interesting here. Something I've noticed. Oh no. That's sort of weird. Yeah, see, we're stopped and it's flashing, so I'm assuming. Interesting. It just works differently. It does the same thing, but it just seems like it's acting a little bit differently when you're playing stuff and then you stop before whatever pattern you've got ended, whatever number of bars you've got going. Anyways, okay, so we'll have to go back here and throw. Actually, you know what? I always go to Serum because it's easier, but because I use it so much. But let's just go to something in Operator. There we go. This could work. Nope. I'll have to have just one note playing at a time with this one because it's a chord already. Okay, so let's just record something new. And the worst part is, I actually forgot what I wanted. Oh yeah, the tuning systems. Oh yeah, that won't work with the chord. Okay, let's look for a different sound. I forgot what I was working on. Because we don't want a pad. We want something very, very clear. And some of these presets are actually really impressive presets, but we just want something very simple. You know what? I may go to Serum after all, just for simplicity. Okay. That's good. Actually, you know what? We're just going to go to one of these here. I have Serum already, and we're just going to go and switch. Oh, and another thing that's new on here that you'll love if you use the arrangement mode. If you're mixing in arrangement mode a lot, is I use arrangement mode, but I tend to do most of my mixing around in here. But there is you can actually get the meters at the bottom now, and I'm not sure how, but there's a way. Let's get rid of this. It's taking up too much space. So there is a way to do it now and have this part here on this screen as well. But okay, anyways, we're getting sidetracked. So let's just create, we'll go to any of these packs and okay, this can work for what we need. So and we're just going to remove this one here. We're going to quantize what we just did, and I will just loop it shorter here. Okay, so the tuning, what it should do is it's got all of these alternative tunings, and I'm not sure how many they built into this, or if some of these are some of the ones. There's something called Scala tunings, I think it's called, and you used to be able to bring it into the micro tuner that was in Ableton Live, and it was a little bit awkward because you had all of these files. You'd have to like bring one in at a time, and from as far as I remember, you couldn't drag it down. You actually had to go through the list and basically through the browser and add them. But I'm assuming if there's this many, I'm assuming they brought all of those in directly, which is really nice, because I'm not sure how how to use the tunings. There we go. I guess you just double click on it and so you can change so it's basically micro tunings, they call it. And I'll be honest, I don't use them that much and know that much about them. I just know it'll basically take, instead of just having the standard tuning, we have like 12 semitones in each scale, or most in regular scales. Some of them have less, but that you use. But this one will have like some of those tones will be just a little bit off. So it's really nice for lo-fi or even like I'd be able to use it in my lo-fi stuff and my deep house stuff, because sometimes it'll sound off key or whatever, but once in a while you'll be able to, it'll take some of the notes and just move them off a little bit. So it's not exact. It almost makes it sound like an instrument that hasn't been tuned that day, but you're able to get something that's like it's almost tuned, but it just has an interesting sound. Now, the only thing is here, oh, okay, I see it here. So we're able to remove it if we need to, I assume. Yeah, so we can delete this and then, so now we're back to whatever we had originally. So this works, I guess, a little bit like the groove pool, where if you're using grooves, it'll add them here and you can work on them here. So from what it looks like on the tunings, it'll tell you, oh, okay, so they're all, whichever one you use seems, oh yeah, okay, these do sounds there. I'm just trying to figure out if these numbers change here as we switch. I guess we can try a bunch of them, and so I'll have to play around with this a little bit. But anyways, that's one of the new features that might be useful for. It does give it a little bit more movement for some reason. Okay, so that's one of the things that's in there. Tuning, the tuning systems. Keys and scales, new in, so that would be this stuff up here, which, wait, where is it? Didn't we have it earlier? Oh, maybe, is it possible because we use this? Oh yeah, interesting. So when you add some alternate tuning, it actually takes that whole scales thing out. That's interesting. Okay. I love when we learn stuff by mistake. So, okay, we'll delete this, go back to this. So that's this up here. And let's see, the screen reader support, which is great for visually impaired musicians. And yeah, I could see that being a game changer, because there's no reason you shouldn't be able to make music if you have visual issues. But it's basically, yeah, that could be very, very useful. The sound similarity and browsing, which is, okay, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. If we go to the drums and just add a drum rack, the interesting thing is we'll just do a regular kit. Let's do this one here. So we've got this kit in here, which, oh yeah, we'll have to remove a bunch of these. Probably the kickstart that's stopping it from playing right now, because, yeah, you know what? Let's just do this onto a different track. We've got too much going on in there. I think this one here we haven't used. Okay, so that's the drum kit here. You could be listening to the whole thing and be like, this is the feel that I want. I want a 909 type thing, but I don't like these sounds. So you just click on here and it'll give you a whole different kit. Very similar, but with different... No, wait, is it doing anything? Okay, here, when we turn that on, yeah, we got to go left and right. See, so you can tell it gives you different sounds. The only thing is, I'm noticing this isn't changing here, but the sound itself is changing. But the actual sample names don't seem to be changing, which is weird. I don't know if it's a bug or I'm just understanding it wrong. But see, this is way different than what we had earlier. And this is changing all of the sounds on it. But let's say we just want to change this one here. We just want to change the kick. But see, we like this snare, so we lock this one here. And this kick we want to switch. I was starting to think it wasn't changing anything, but see, so let's say we like this really, really strong one. So we've got this one and this one that we like, but then we can switch this here and it'll find all these other sounds will be different. And we'll do it again just so you can tell that it's switching these sounds. So this one we like here, and it's not touching these that we have. Or you can just do one sound at a time. So it's sort of nice that you can switch all of them. You can switch all of them except for the ones you locked or individual ones. But it'll be really nice. I like this one actually. So yeah, this is great for making some music where you're not needing to go back into this browser and check each one. And it's finding sounds that are similar to what you're working on already. So it's not as random as you just going into your sound library and just trying to stuff it from scratch. So we've got that, the tagging. I actually want to see how the tagging works. And I'm hoping that they eventually do it automatically, because a lot of these could be figured out pretty automatically. Like if this is a drums 85 BPM, it's obviously a loop. So this could be tagged as a loop automatically. But so if we wanted to do this as a loop, I'm assuming, oh yeah, so we'd probably go to edit here. We go to drums, and there should be something for a loop here. Drum loop, and it's not really a full drum loop. It's not really a percussion. I guess it's more of a build, so it's not really any of these. Actually, now that I think about it, it's not really a loop at all. So we could look through, and it's not any of these. But what we could do, from what I understand, is create our own. Yeah, we could do our own tag and have it rise. I'm going to do temporary, just so I remember to remove this later. So we should have, see, I don't even, where did it go? Anyways, okay, we're gonna have to play around with this one a little bit more, but yeah, at least we can tag these, which is sort of interesting. The biggest thing with this is you're able to tag your stuff, and you're not limited to the 6 or 7 the favorites. It only had like 7 colors that you could use. So it'd be sort of nice to be able to tag your stuff as frequently used or whatever. So that'll be really, really nice to use as we go. Browsing history, that's right. That's something that I like, because if we do this here, actually we'll do it as an example. If we go to temporary, so we should be able to find the tag we had earlier. No, we cannot. Again, I'll figure that out. But if we're doing this and we're like, okay, we want to go back to what we were working on, we can just hit back here and go back to all the searches that we did earlier. So we had the drums, we had let's see how far back we can go. These were the different, you can even go back. So it's actually going back to the actual tunings that we used. We were choosing a whole bunch of them. So you can actually go back to different presets that you tried, which this is interesting because I don't know how often it happens. I'll do a preset, I'll find a preset, I'll be working on something else, and then it just doesn't work. And I'm like, I'd like to go back to something I was using earlier and start from there. So you're able to, you'd be able to go, wow, I love this. So we're able to go to all of the ones we had. So if one of these was like something that we couldn't use at the time, and then we're like, okay, now we're the part of the track where we can use this, we can go back and find that. So I find that really interesting. The only thing is, it doesn't seem to have forward. So you seem to be able to go back, but you can't go forward. Oh yeah, these you can. Oh, maybe I must have pressed something. I must have pressed something at some point. Oh, maybe it's, no. I must have done something so I couldn't go forward. Anyways, we can go back and forward. So that's good. Browsing history, it doesn't seem like it'll be really that useful, but that could be useful for sure. So so factory tags, I think we're getting close to, like I mentioned earlier, these are available in the standard version as well. So that'll be really nice if you have that. Some of these packs are new, and I'll have to go play around with some of these. When they say now in Live 12 Lite, Intro, and Standard, chances are it was only in Suite before, and it's got it in the other ones now, which is this one here, Build and Drop. If you, depending on the type of music you make, this could be really useful. I really like this one. This is actually one of the first ones I installed on here, I'm pretty sure. So a bunch of these have been added to standard. The orchestral strings, their sounds are really, really good. So, and this electric keyboard, I love the electric keyboards one. There's some great stuff in here. And then Golden Era drums, trap drums. I'll have to check these out. The Golden Era drums sounds like it could be interesting. It looks like it's old school hip hop stuff. And these are all stuff that was there before. Lost and Found. Performance pack is, I wish they'd just link to the actual thing here. I think this one here, let's do have to go to packs. It's weird that we have to do this, but can we find the performance pack in here? Maybe it's on a different, there we go, performance pack here. I just want to see what the variations, the arrangement looper, especially if you're doing some live stuff, there could be some good stuff in here. It's not what I thought it was though, but okay. And the audio effects. So we tried Roar already, and that sounded amazing on bass. So that's the only effect that's brand new. Okay, the MIDI tools. So most of these are the things in your piano roll that you can play around with. Strum is the one that I've been looking forward to the most, and I really have to sit down and figure out how it works. It looks like it's pretty simple to use, but I have to figure out what does what in there to be able to use this thing, because I think that could be a whole lot of fun. It just makes it a little bit more human. We tend to do chords on a MIDI controller on Ableton Push, and then we just hit quantize so everything's hitting at the same time. But obviously if you're playing notes, you're not hitting everything at the same time. So depending on the type of music, sometimes you'll want that, sometimes you don't. But it'll be nice to have Strum to just give it a little bit more of a human feel. And this rhythm one seems like it'll be interesting as well. So I'm going to try that. And Euclidean generator, I have no idea what that is. I'm going to check that one out as well. Velocity shaper, which I'm assuming is sort of like the velocity tool, and but more advanced. We'll give this one a quick try here. Velocity shaper. And oops, I don't know why I'm in caps. Okay, so velocity shaper here. Let's just see what happens if we add it here.